Most people who leave Mormonism discovered that they could not trust the LDS church. And as a result, they find it hard to trust any church in the future. And so your role as a mentor is to help people learn to transfer their trust from a church, from an ecclesiastical institution, to trust now in God. But you're going to have to be aware of some of the ways that Christian churches might undermine a transitioning Mormon's trust. And so number one, your first goal is to help people trust the Bible. The arguments made by the LDS Church to undermine the Bible are simply not true. They just don't hold up. And so your role as a mentor is to help your friend understand why Christians have always believed in the reliability and the authority of the Bible. For one thing, you could start with the Bible's witness of itself. And you can see in the article below, there's a number of biblical passages that show what the Bible says about itself. But you also want to help them understand how the Bible has been handed down to us over the centuries so that they can have confidence that it has not been corrupted by the people who handled it. And then you can talk about the accuracy and the readability of modern language translations. And then finally, help them see the Bible as a gift from God by which He has communicated His heart of love to us. All of that will help them to trust the Bible. And then from there, you want to begin to try to help people trust the church. Help your friend understand that nobody is asking them to trust in a church in the same way that they once trusted in the LDS church. And if a church is asking for that, they should run away. You want to help them understand also that there is a one true church, but it's not a human institution. It's the family of all those people around the world who follow Jesus, and it takes shape in many, many different congregations and denominations. And talk about how important it is to get connected with other Christians for our own spiritual growth and health and well-being. Now, unfortunately, there are Christian churches that do use some of the same tactics that Mormonism uses to control or manipulate their people or to guilt them into serving or giving, whatever it may be. But those are not the norm. Those are not the majority. And so you want to steer your ex-Mormon friend to a church that has genuine integrity and that has truly caring people. Now, that means you might need to evaluate your own church by these standards. And before you start inviting former Mormons to your church, make sure that your church really is a place where these impediments have been removed that hinder people from trusting the church, because that's part of your goal, is to help them trust the church. Now, it follows beyond that the next thing, as a mentor, you want to help people to trust a pastor. By all means, steer your friend away from any church that elevates a pastor to an authoritarian position. That's just unhealthy, and it doesn't help build trust. But instead, talk about the checks and balances that churches have in place to help keep pastors and spiritual leaders accountable. Talk about how churches are governed. You might want to explain the training that your pastor has received for his ministry, or you might want to talk about instances that you've experienced that reveal your pastor's own personal character. And then, of course, it really helps a lot if your pastor is willing to get to know your friend individually, to spend time with them, to listen patiently, and to show them some personal care. All of those things help build trust in pastors in general and that pastor in particular. Now, the next thing you want to understand as a mentor is that you can help people gain discernment. Your LDS friend may doubt his or her ability to distinguish truth. After all, they were deceived once before. What's keeping them from being fooled again? Well, help them to understand that they don't have to be deceived again, but if not, they must learn to develop discernment. So guide them to some of the biblical principles that help us to tell the difference between truth and error, right and wrong. And you can see some of the biblical passages in the article below. And encourage them to test everything they hear, everything that they discover, whether it's from the church, whether it's from the pastor, from the Christian radio, whatever. Test anything, not by their feelings, but by God's truth as He's revealed it in His Word, the Bible. Discernment is about truth, not feelings. And as you help them to gain discernment, you'll help them to trust their own capacity to make good decisions in the future. And then finally, as a mentor, your job is to help people trust God. Your ultimate goal as a mentor is to help people place their trust in God. So help them see that we're not asking them to trust in a pastor or in a church in any ultimate sense. But once their trust in God has become settled and become firm and secure, then they can trust God with the pastor, with the church, with the people. They can even trust God with all of their own weaknesses. Now, the trustworthy character of God is discovered in the trustworthy Bible. So take some time to look at those passages, like some of the ones listed below, that really help us discover and explain the reasons why God can be trusted.